Hey guys, Nathan at Duck River Honey, and this morning I'm getting some swarm traps put together. I was here late last night assembling about 150 frames, 4 swarm traps, and fixing up some bottoms. I had these bottoms painted, but I didn't have holes drilled, so I got 2 3/4 inch holes drilled in them, and as you can see, I got some hardware cloth stapled on the inside. That'll keep birds or mice from getting in there, hopefully. The bees don't mind it at all. I caught several swarms out of this style opening last year. And then, of course, I got the entrance discs put on there. If you don't use these entrance discs, there's a lot of different things you can do. You can actually staple some 1/8 inch hardware cloth over the outside to lock the bees in. You can make a lever type thing to close it off. You can actually take wine corks and stick in here and shut them in. I experimented with several of those last year, and I think these they're just easy. They just work really well, so makes it easier to move the bees. I'm going to use this style bottom, which has the spacer stapled to it and glued, as well as the bottom boards and spacer system that I'm using. These I'm going to put in the areas a little farther out because I've got less invested in these. So if someone messes with them, steals them or whatever, then I just won't lose as much. So I'm going to try to get at least 6 more put out today. We've got rain coming. I've got some family obligations, but I'm going to try to get my entire line set out over the weekend, and then I'll just have to go and refresh the lure at the entrance every week or so. Especially after a rain, you need to refresh after a rain. That's pretty important. I think it washes the scent away, and also after a rain, the bees get out and fly a lot, so they're more likely to find it after a rain. So I'll just show you a little bit about how I'm setting these up again. I've got the inside waxed on the supers, on all of the bottoms, on the spacers and everything. And I'll just take some old comb, preferably brood comb. I don't really want them to build on this, but I do want the scent in there. So a little brood comb scent, some dead bees. Let's see, my next one's an even, so that's going to get some Swarm Commander. Go ahead and lure the entrance. I try to get and with this spray bottle, I'll try to get the upper side of the entrance so that if it does rain, it's still there. That seems to work pretty well. I've got my 10 frames in there. And I will finish it off with a lid. And now I'll ratchet strap that together. Try to make sure everything's lined up one last time before I lock it down. All right, that one's done. I'm planning on putting traps out in 2 locations today, and I want to vary the types of traps, sizes of traps, and the amount of money I have in them. So I'm putting up some fairly cheap ones, putting up some of my dedicated swarm traps. I've only got 3 of those. I don't like them because they're hard to store and they're single use. This stuff I can sort of use. This style bottom I can't really reuse for anything else. But this is a Honey Super high body nuke, whatever. This is an emergency lid. It's Advantech that I painted several coats on. So I can use this to start a colony out if I catch more than I intend to. But it's also cheap. So it's cheaper than a migratory lid to put on a swarm trap. So I'm using some of these and using some migratories. I just think that makes sense for me. And obviously the bees like it. They have found me this morning. I've always got bees in the bee shed. They like bee smells. But they especially like me when I'm working with lemongrass and swarm commander and old brood comb and all that stuff. These are bees from my home apiary. We're only, I don't know, we're probably 4/10 of a mile away from there right now. Hello, bee. I like that pretty well. Yep, that's good to go. Make sure we've got the entrance open. That would help. Let's see, this is going to be an odd number. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to have to open it back up and put that Man Lake thing in there. It's got a little bit of brood comb in there, not much. And lemongrass oil. It's actually a dead bee at the entrance here. So this location is an old abandoned homestead. It is owned by a friend of mine who gave me permission. It's about 7 miles from my home apiary, so I'm in a different population of bees here, and I'm excited about that. It takes me a little over 20 minutes to get here, even though it's only 7 miles away. So I wanted to maximize my chances of catching multiple swarms here, so I've actually put up 3 swarm traps. Physical access is good. I do have a chained gate to get through, so I may end up parking at the road and then walking back to check and freshen my lure. Habitat is very diverse. There's a series of creek bottoms here, and then the ridge tops are wooded. Tons of timber in the area, so that should be a lot of nest sites. There are openings interspersed, so I think it'll be a really good diverse habitat. From an edge standpoint, I set up all of the traps on the edge of the woods and this clearing. There is also a big power line that cuts through here and another one in the back of the property that goes for miles. So I think that line will be a flight path and may increase the odds that these get found by bees. Flight path to the individual trees is all good. They're clear, right on the edge between the woods and the opening or the clearing. So they've got easy access to those traps, and I think it's going to increase the odds that they get found. Water, there's a wet weather creek right next to them, and then there's another year-round creek nearby. So plenty of water available, and all of these will be shaded when the canopy gets out on the trees. I actually hear a honeybee buzzing over here next to my truck, so it must smell the lemongrass and swarm commander in the truck, and that's a good sign. I've not seen bees out here before. This is sort of a shot in the dark or an educated guess that there would be bee populations around here. So that's a really good sign. I've got high hopes for this location. So I'm getting rained out here. It started raining after you saw me put the swarm trap up in the tree stand. I got 2 more out in this location, but then it started raining. I don't want to get the camera wet. So I'll give you the rundown from the cab of my truck. This location is about 12 miles from my home apiary. It is private property. I've got landowner permission. Physical access is okay. If it rains a lot, then it could get a little tricky to get back in here. Habitat is phenomenal. There are some houses within a 2-mile radius, so there's likely to be bees and beekeepers. There's a big mix of habitat here, big wood lots. There's food plots here. The landowner is a deer and turkey hunter, so there's actually some blinds and tree stands and stuff that make it easy to put them up. A lot of clover, big briar patches. There's a cemetery not far away, so there's probably a lot of Dutch white clover there. From an edge standpoint, I'm in the edge of the field. Good flight paths to all of the swarm traps, and there's water nearby, and all of them should be in the shade. And I'll show you a couple. You saw the other one a minute ago. And then I've got a couple here. Always take the easy path. If you can set a swarm trap on a set of stairs, then that's a lot easier than putting it up in a tree. So I asked if I could set one on the stairs to that deer blind, and I was told that it would be fine. They wouldn't be using it for months. So I've got 3 in this location. I think it'll be a really good spot, and I went ahead and put 3 out. 3's the most I'll have in any location. I'll have 3 in a couple different spots. So I've got high hopes for this one. So this location is right at 14 miles from my home apiary. It's a bit of a drive to get out here. There's one major advantage that none of my other swarm trap locations have, and that is really good smallmouth fishing in a very beautiful creek. So I can bring my waders and a fishing pole when I come to check this one. Access to this spot's good. There's a paved road nearby. Should be fine in wet weather. It's on private property. I've got landowner permission. So physical and legal access are good. Habitat is extremely diverse. There are very big ridges around here with timber blocks that go for miles. And then I'm down in a sort of a creek bottom that is less than a half mile wide that goes for miles again. So lots of fields, lots of agriculture, pastures, overgrown fields, just incredibly diverse. I think there's a couple of beekeepers in this river valley, and but I'm not 100% on that. I've seen a few beehives, but it's several miles away, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be bees here. This is actually right on a creek channel. It's in the edge of between two fields, so I've got an edge, I've got a line here, there's a road behind me, so there's another line, there's a little farm access trail over here that adds another line. Water is everywhere around here. This is shaded, and both the traps I've got in this location have got good flight path. They're both clear. I expect to catch bees in this location. I expect it to be a really good spot, so we'll see. Well, I'm on my way to put out 2 more swarm traps. These are sort of unplanned, and I'm beginning to feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends. I've been busy today. I don't know if I'll get these on camera or not, because these are not really traps I'm putting out for myself. I've got a neighbor that lives a few miles away who wants to get into beekeeping, doesn't know a lot about it, and I was talking to him about how instead of buying a nuke or a package, they could try to trap swarms and then get some locally adapted bees, which in my experience are usually really good bees. So they don't know anything about it, and I'm gonna put up a couple swarm traps, and I told them that, you know, if we catch 1 or 2, then the first couple would be theirs, and I'll be able to help to get them started beekeeping. And then if by chance we caught more than that, then, you know, I would take any extra swarms, so to speak. Deer almost ran out in front of me. They're really moving this time of day. It's getting dark. That's what I'm up to right now. I got 2 more to get out before dark, and then I'll get home. And I don't think I'm gonna work anymore tonight, even though I've got more traps to put together, more frames to make. Just seems like it's endless sometimes, but it's fun. And once this big chunk of work is done this year, I think it'll get a lot easier. Next year I'll have quite another big chunk of work to do, but the year after that, my equipment and facility should be built, and then I'll just have to worry about replacement. Hey guys, it's about a week after the last footage that you saw. Of course, I work through the week, so it's kind of tough, and with family and other obligations, it's I just have to find time to do this as I can. So I'm still trying to get the rest of my swarm traps out. Where we're at in the season is pears, early pears and plums are blooming. For Cynthia is blooming. So several things starting to pop out. Elm is going, early maple is blooming. The bees are, I was by there today, they're doing orientation flights and just going nuts. It's just a good time. So I'm really expecting in the next couple weeks that there's a good chance that swarms could start issuing. Especially if it's a smaller hive that feels crowded this time of year. You can get some of those early crowded swarms. So I really want to get the rest of my traps out today through this week. I've gotten 5, I think, set out today. And I've got a couple more to go, but I've actually run out of ratchet straps. So I've also gone back through some of the earlier ones that I put out and re-lured the entrance because we've had quite a bit of rain this week. So This is the final location I'm going to show in this video, and after this I'm just going to start doing a swarm trap line check series, which I think will be more fun, honestly. It may not be quite as educational, but it should be pretty fun. It's exciting going to check those things. I was checking some today, not expecting any activity. I've not seen any scout bees yet at the ones in my yard or around my home apiary. Seen no interest at all, but it's still exciting pulling up to them and not knowing if you're gonna have a swarm in it or not. So it's just really fun. I'll go over very quickly this location. This is about 19 miles away from my home apiary. It takes a while to get here. The main reason that I'm out here is there's a family friend that owns property here. He's got a couple different properties several miles apart. So it's worth my time to drive out here because I can put 2 here and 2 at the other property. And those will be in different forage areas, different populations of bees. Access is good here. Physical access is good. Of course, I've got landowner permission, but physical access is good. I've got a road that will be good year-round. The habitat here is varied, big timber blocks for miles and miles, and then the creek bottoms have quite a bit of open ground pasture, and then up on top of the ridge top, there's a lot of food plots and a lot of things that bees would like. So I think it'll be a good diverse area that bees should be living in. From an edge standpoint, there's not as much edge here as I would like, to be honest. I'd like to be on the edge of the field and the woods, but I'm more on a ridge top, and it's just sort of the way it is. I could go farther up here and get on the edge of the field, but then I would be driving quite a bit further on almost a 4-wheel drive road, and the check time is just going to get too much, honestly. So I'm staying closer to my access point and just hoping that I can get bees to find this and move in. Flight path on both of these is good. The trees are cleared. They got good entrance points. It's well shaded, and there are creeks on both sides of me here, so plenty of water nearby. Swarm trapping is a series of decisions that the bees make, and my strategy is to give them as much of what they want as possible, because I am fighting against every tree cavity out in the woods, trying to provide the bees with their absolute best home, their dream home. So they're looking for cavity volume, they're looking for entrance size and location and orientation, they're looking for the presence of old honeybee nests, the presence of comb and brood smell and Nasanov pheromone and all that stuff. So the previous 3 videos I've done in this series are on swarm traps themselves, and then how to bait and lure those swarm traps, and then the locations that you put those swarm traps. And all of those factors play a part in the bee's decision to move in or to move in somewhere else. And I want to stress that, because you can be off on 1 or 2 or 3 of those things if you need to be, and the bees still decide to move in. So they have a strong preference for being 22 feet up in a tree because that gives them really good bear protection. But they will move into a bait hive that is on the ground if that's the overall best choice that they have. So just think about that. You don't have to break your back getting on ladders if everything else is really good. Now, another way to think about that is, I have not surveyed all of the nest cavities, the potential nest cavities out in the surrounding 2 miles. I don't have any idea what's out there. So my goal is to provide as much of what the bees are looking for as I possibly can, and hope that the house I'm offering them is better than what they find anywhere else. So just think about it that way. It's not one thing that makes or breaks a swarm's decision to move into your swarm trap. It's a lot of things, and you can be off on a few of them and it still be the best choice they've got.
guys, I really hope that this series of videos will help people to trap swarms, catch bees, and get into beekeeping. It's a fun thing to do. It really is doable for people. I think most people can be successful doing this if they put in some effort. So I really do hope that this stuff I'm putting out helps. And guys, if you have found this video helpful, then please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell for notifications. All of those things help me get this video out to people who are interested in beekeeping. And my big goal with this channel is to help people get into beekeeping, and once they get into beekeeping, to help them be successful. I appreciate you doing that, appreciate you watching and sharing it with your bee groups and with friends that are interested in beekeeping, and I'll see you next time.